Welcome into New Orleans Saints now. I am Tom Downey. Some positive news to begin today's show as the latest reports indicate that Michael Thomas might just be back for week one after all, which is always good given the rash of injuries he's had in recent run for the Saints. Here's what Jeff Duncan reported earlier this morning. Quote, hearing positive news on the Michael Thomas front for the Saints. We'll be surprised if he's not in the starting lineup versus the Falcons in week one. Thomas has been sidelined by a hamstring injury. That is a very good sign for the New Orleans Saints, given, well, we've been through the Michael Thomas injury road before, haven't we? There's the ankle injury that cost him all of 2020, or a good portion of 2020, all of 2021 as well. He was kind of still recovering from that ankle, came back a bit quicker than most people thought he would in training camp. Then he had the hamstring injury that cost him some time in the preseason. He didn't play at all because, you know, it's preseason. You don't need him out there anyway. But getting Michael Thomas back fully healthy and back to form would be massive for the Saints offense. The wide receiving core, from what it was last year when you were led by Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, Deontay Hardy, and you were trying almost anyone you could at that position, to now have it led by Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and Jarvis Landry, whether it's Olave as a full-fledged, receiver 2 or 3 or whatnot, or immediately, is significant. That goes from a bottom-tier wide receiver core to, if everyone's healthy, Jameis Winston got himself some playmakers now on offense. Do I think we're going to see 2019 Michael Thomas again? I think if we're being honest with ourselves, the answer is probably no. That's probably asking too much out of Thomas, but even if those numbers come back down to earth, where it's, 100-plus catches for 1,000-plus yards, that's still really valuable for the Saints. And if you have Michael Thomas out there on the football field for you against the Atlanta Falcons, given the way that organization is, let's call it what it is, rebuilding and not having great talent right now, it could be a potential early season blowout for the Saints. They're already an almost 7-point favorite in that game. So if you are happy with the Michael Thomas news, show it for us by liking today's video right now. I think every single person watching should be happy with that news. Therefore, you should be liking that video. While you're down there, make sure you guys are subscribed to us here at New Orleans Saints Now. We got Michael Thomas updates for you all the time, just like this one. We also have game previews, recaps, all the latest news, rumors, and everything else in between on your New Orleans Saints. Interactive content that not other many YouTube channels do, and it's Saints videos from Saints fans, just like producer Trace, who is by far the biggest Saints fan I know, sometimes maybe a little bit too much, but he has fun. Hit that big red button and subscribe right here to New Orleans Saints Now. We'll take a look for the rest of today's video at some potential Chauncey Garner-Johnson replacements after the really shocking trade made by New Orleans, and one that I'm just not a huge fan of. Here's where things sit currently on the Saints defensive back depth chart. Marshon Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus Maye, Paulson Adebo will clearly be your top 4. Now you're replacing Chauncey Garner-Johnson as that hybrid safety nickel corner, the role he played oh so well for the Saints. We're going to pencil in P.J. Williams, but that's not the only option on this team or outside the team, as we'll get into here in a little bit. So before we get too far in, what is your confidence level in the Saints defensive back room? Scale this for me 1 to 100. 1 on the low end, 100 on the high end. Get those answers in for me at the pinned comments of today's video. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Let's look internally first. The first 4 options for this team on the inside. Let's go with Bradley Roby, who I thought for sure was going to get cut by the Saints. They did not cut him. They kept him around, kept him on the roster, and I think he's better on the outside, but he is at least primed for more potential impact from that perspective with, maybe you try to get creative sometimes, and maybe you have Marshon Lattimore or Paulson Adebo get some nickel corner reps depending on who the opposing team is. Like, hypothetically, for example, maybe you put Marshon Lattimore against Kyle Pitts in the slot in week 1 because Pitts is really just a big slot receiver. And then it's Bryan Edwards and Drake London. Adebo can cover London and put Roby on the outside and be creative with your defensive packages, which I trust Dennis Allen fully to do. Elsewhere, as more of a pure safety option, there's Justin Evans. I think he's next man up at the safety spot because you don't want to play Daniel Sorensen real minutes, I promise you that. What you can do is use the Honey Badger in the Chauncey Garner-Johnson role, which kind of originally is the Honey Badger role. As a nickel corner, overhang defender, safety, nickel, I can do all of it for you. So if you want to run more 3 safety stuff, Justin Evans can be your third safety. If you want more of a pure nickel corner, I think P.J. Williams can handle that role. Is he a premier nickel corner? Is he as good as Chauncey Garner-Johnson? No, of course not. But when you're playing other teams like Carolina, Tampa's going to be tough, although the Saints own Tom Brady in Tampa, you can just put P.J. Williams in that more typical nickel corner role. And the one name that I'm maybe most intrigued by long-term is Alontae Taylor. You're not going to move on from Marshawn Lattimore or Debo. You've locked in most of your top 5 core at corner/nickel at safety. Alontae Taylor you spent a pretty premium pick on. Now, how you put him on the field is he was kind of viewed as kind of a safety corner hybrid for some coming out of the NFL draft. Maybe that's a good name to keep an eye out for. Maybe not for week 1, but long term, maybe Alontae Taylor truly is your Chauncey Gardner-Johnson replacement as your top 5 defensive backs. Although the Saints could always get aggressive and look outside the organization from that perspective, given how willing they are to make some splash moves with big-time trades or acquisitions, even shocking ones like dumping Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Some other outside the organization replacements coming up, but first, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code CHAT125. See it right there on screen. When you put down at least $100, they're going to give you an extra $125 for free. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is CHAT125. The betting odds then for week 1 of the NFL season. The Saints are a 6-point favorite. The Falcons over-under game against them set at 42.5. That's a pretty big line for a week 1 game, nearly a full touchdown. So keep an eye on the Saints crushing Atlanta. And if you want to bet on them, do it with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is CHAT125. Some outside options, both free agents, practice squad, and some trade candidates. Jaquiski Tartt, first up here. He fits more of that big box safety type of role, which, if you want to have that guy and let Marcus Maye be your deep safety in that typical prototype, if you want to have, Tyrann Mathieu play that honey badger type of role, Tartt does start to make some sense from that perspective. He's kind of bounced around in recent years. I'm a bit surprised he didn't make the Eagles roster, but he wasn't the most surprising cut by Philadelphia. They dumped Anthony Harris, who I would love to bring into the organization. Now, he is on the Eagles practice squad right now, which is fine. You can just go poach him as long as he wants to come to New Orleans. Here are the practice squad rules, right? Teams are allowed to poach players from their team's practice squad if they sign them to the active roster. A team can sign a player from their upcoming opponent's practice squad, but it must be done 6 days before the game or 10 days if it is during the bye week, which doesn't factor in because Eagles Saints don't play week 1. Teams can protect up to 4 players on their practice squad to prevent them from being poached, though that goes into effect on Tuesday each week. So if you want a player off a practice squad, sign them on Monday, and you can still steal them in the end. So if you want, I think, the best easily obtainable safety on the market, that is Anthony Harris. He's been a starter in the past. That is the route I would strongly consider going if I were the Saints, if you want an outside option. 2 more names coming up, but first, the Saints did break out their new black helmets. Now, as you can tell in the screenshot of the video that they leaked, looks a little bit off, right? Like, it just looks black. And that is true because they're going to have it look more like this. There's no logo on the side. I think the little, I call it the snakeskin decal up top. Yeah, the fleur-de-lis, the logo. I'm talking about the center part. I call it snakeskin because it kind of looks like snakeskin there in the end. That, I think, is going to be added on afterward because it really ends up being more of a sticker than it does, like, truly part of the helmet. But they're trying them out, making sure everything fits and everything's good from that perspective there. But do you like the black helmet look for the Saints? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, how you feel about the alternate helmets for the Saints. 2 more replacements here. Jessie Bates is I call it more than most teams a typical Saints move, right? Like they're ultra aggressive. They don't F them pick sometimes. They will go add talent, restructure deals. I love the way they run their organization. But if they weren't going to pay Chauncey Garner-Johnson big time money, would they pay Jessie Bates big time money? The problem here is that Bates is on the franchise tag, and they can do nothing with that contract. In most cases, you would pay him right now, bring that cap hit down low. I have a tough time seeing the Saints being willing to pay Jessie Bates $16 million after an entire year on the franchise tag. Big, sexy name. Don't get your hopes up. The more realistic target is one Chuck Clark, the Ravens safety who's kind of on his way out at some point. Got Kyle Hamilton. The Ravens signed Saints legend Marcus Williams in free agency. Clark is a good football player. At minimum, he's an awesome safety 3. He can do some around-the-box things for you. If you're going to trade for somebody, I think Chuck Clark is the name to go look at if you are New Orleans. So of the 4 outside options, the free agency, the practice squad guy, and the 2 trade candidates, who would you get? JT for Jaquiski Tartt, AH for Anthony Harris, JB for Jessie Bates, or CC for Chuck Clark? Let me know in the comment section.